All right, fashion dolls, did you guys enjoy episode 5 of Tete a Tete? That will be also uploaded to my YouTube channel. Make sure you guys head on over and subscribe to Style by Stevie Daytime. Our next special guest is a Staten Island native, and I'm excited to have him here, fashion dolls. Without further ado, joining me, let's welcome Andre Joseph. Hello, hello, handsome.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It is such a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, this is a truly an honor, Stevie. Thanks so much for this.
You are so welcome. So, before we get into this interview, how has 2023 been for you so far? I mean, with the year being halfway out,
Oh, wow. It's been a very busy and productive year, I gotta say. Probably the busiest I've been in a long time.
that's amazing. It's been a lot of obstacles, but we are still here.
Absolutely.
All right. So, let's get started into your journey. Now, you're from Staten Island, New York. Correct me if I'm
That's
wrong.
correct. Born and raised here.
All yes, I have family in New York, Brooklyn, and I'm pretty sure you've heard of Bed-Stuy and Brownsville. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's born in Brooklyn, so I know it very well. My grandmother, everybody on my mom and my dad's side of families.
Okay. Okay. So humble beginnings. What were humble beginnings for you like growing up? Did you always knew that you wanted to direct and act and produce?
I was a very mischievous kind of kid growing up. I used to collect a lot of toys and watched a lot of cartoons and movies at home. And I would reenact a lot of what I saw on TV with my action figures. And just based on the stories that I saw, I would just like take them, put them together, reenact everything that I saw. And and once in a while I would sneak into my parents' bedroom and I'd see some of the movies, not the dirty stuff. I'm talking about just like, regular Hollywood
Okay.
blockbuster, late 80s, early 90s, and like really be kind of gripped by that sort of thing. And I used to also be a writer of creative writing when I was in school. So I wrote my own stories. And it didn't really dawn on me to become a filmmaker until roughly about almost 30 years ago. I used to go to my grandmother's place whenever my parents were out partying or working, and my cousins would be there. And it was kind of the same thing. We would do skits in the hallway and reenact movies that we saw on TV. And my uncle, who was living with my grandmother at the time, had a video camera, and we wanted to start filming these skits. But I was like
Yeah.
10 years old. He didn't trust me to handle one of those old VHS cameras. But we were always writing different ideas of what we wish we could do as a movie. And it wasn't until 1997, my mom had just gotten a camera, and we were in Hilton Head, South Carolina on vacation. We made a few friends in our hotel, and we said, hey, let's try to film a movie with the camera. So she gave me the okay. She would use the camera, and I would just write up an idea. So I did like a little detective story with these new friends that I had. And that began the journey of getting my school friends and my cousins together and just filming short movies on the weekends or after school. And then they didn't know if I was serious about it because they thought I would be a doctor or something of that sort. But once they put me into New York Film Academy for the summer program, that's when I decided, okay, I want to do this because you just showed me how to do it for real, how to direct actors, how to block camera shots and do lighting and sound. And then I went to college at Emerson College in Boston, and that's where I got my bachelor's degree and started my career from there.
And you've interned for television productions of VH1 Classic in the summer of 2006. What was that experience like?
That that was to me like you step out of the Staten Island ferry and you go to Manhattan and you step into the walls of the Viacom building on 50th Street, and it's like color. You're surrounded by talented producers and staff writers who really know the ins and outs of the music industry and television production. And they taught me so much about teamwork and how to operate a production on a fast schedule. And at that time, we had a number of artists come in, like Who You and the Blowfish, Jagged Edge came in, Bonnie Raitt, Nile Rodgers of Chic. And it was like mind blowing to be in the same room with all these legends. And then after like 5 minutes, they're just like me. They're just like regular people. So it was a good training ground for me to learn what it's like to be a professional on a set. And definitely one of the most happiest experiences of my life. And I miss those guys greatly, ever since I did that internship.
Now, in 2008, you formed your own production independent film production company, AJEPYX Productions LLC. So tell us about that.
Yes, HA Epics Productions. So when I got out of school that year, I knew right away I didn't want to go to Hollywood and try to, work from the ground up. I wanted to just be an independent filmmaker. That was my dream from day one. And I had written a script while I was in college called Priceless, and it tells a jewel thief who is on the run from the mob. He goes back home to his hometown, which happens to be Staten Island, and he bumps into his ex-girlfriend from high school, who's now a single mom and struggling with the bills. And she kind of gets him to want to reform his ways and go straight while the mob is on his back. And that was definitely it was a positive experience overall, and a lot of learning lessons to be made there. It was the first production I had where I had a real crew. I had real actors that were all from the Screen Actors Guild, and shooting on location. And that was like a 17-day shoot, and really, I guess the memorable experience, besides just the times on set and the friends that I made, was when we premiered it at Tribeca Cinemas the following year that we shot. And like having my name on the marquee was such a surreal experience, because I always talked about that with my friends, and like, oh my God, it'd be so cool if that happens. And then when it did, it was like, oh my God, this is really happening now. Like I'm actually in the business. There's days I wish it could have gone further, but in recent memory, I've made some efforts. Now it's up on Tubi and it's on Amazon for people to watch. So we were able to, even though it took a long time to get it out there, and it's getting some views. So thankfully, it's starting to find an audience.
Now, you also now fast forward working on your second film, Dishonorable Vendetta. It was screened at the Urban Action Showcase in 2015, where you won for Best Award for Best Firefight. So tell us about that experience.
Well, that was a wild one, because that was the polar opposite of Priceless. This was a straight up action crime thriller. I grew up with all the buddy cop shows like Miami Vice and movies like Lethal Weapon and Bad Boy. I wanted to always emulate that in a film. And I had written a script basically about these two partners, with one having this very dark history and the other who's a family man who kind of has his act together but gets drawn into the stuff that's happening with his partner while they're on a case going after these drug runners. And that was a script where originally I wrote myself to be the main character, but I had this friend named Chris Carula, whose dad is also a filmmaker, and they were doing a mafia movie at the time called Old Secrets, No Lies, and I was helping out doing camera work for it. And I was really impressed with Chris's acting, so much so that I gave him the script, and he read it in a day and was like, I want to do this. But what I did feel was like he was so explosive in that film. I said, we got to reverse these roles. You got to play a dark character. I got to play the light character. And we've been friends for a very long time, and it stretched into a second film. Now we got a third film that's in post production, and there was a lot of intensity because it's an action film. There's a lot of special effects involved, and at times we shot some late nights that went a little bit nuts. But that one, I think, was more liberating because the crew and the actors were just so accessible, and more importantly, everybody was just on top of their game on that one.
And then you just went on to win accolade after accolade after accolade. Best Director, Crime Feature Award at the Atlantic City Sin Fest. You've had the Urban Action Showcase. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So many projects. So with this most recent project, What sets this aside from the other projects?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
I was saying with the most recent upcoming project, what can people expect in one word?
This one is going to be, it's going to be intense.
All right. So you guys check out the previous projects if they're out there on Tubi. And you've went on to at the New York Jazz Film Festival for your dramatic short film, The Saxophonist, which won Best Director. So you just went on and on throughout your career, accolade after accolade. I always ask this question to a lot of my guests. But seeing your success, what is your mom saying? What is your family saying? Has they seen the film?
Oh yeah, they've seen all of my films, and they're very proud of the work that I've done, and they've seen how my work has grown over time. It's not just some side hobby or something that, obviously they don't look at it in a sense like, oh, he's not making any money, so he should go off and get a day job. No, they see the talent, they see what I'm doing, and they've been backing me up all the way, and I just feel blessed to have them in my life.
Yes, and family support is pivotal. You're also a freelance as a videographer and editor for companies such as Vintage NYC Magazine, Phoenix Studios in Staten Island, New York, and NBC Entertainment. All of these accolades. My next question is, how do you find the balance? Because you are a man that wears many hats. And in this business, that is key in this business to have longevity is that you have to be able to balance and do it all, especially if you're in the music industry and in the film industry as well too. What advice would you give to people that are looking to start their own companies? With you having your own company, there are others out here that are looking to start their own film companies.
The biggest thing I would say, it was actually Blair Underwood who said this at an event at the Black Film Festival. And actually, I got to ask him a question a few years ago. You got to treat it like a business. I started out basically doing everything by myself, directing, acting, writing, and editing. And I still do wear those hats from time to time. And then depending on the projects, I would delegate to other people that are more professional that I know can do the job well. But I think the mistake that a lot of people make, whether they're doing their own thing on YouTube or they just go to film school and they're taught the mechanics of how to work a camera or how to do lighting or how to direct actors, but nobody knows how to get a job. And the thing about it is, for to have that longevity, I mean, it's great to have YouTube and other ways to get your work out there and to build a following. But you have to also understand the keys to doing that, to expand your audience, to know what your target is. That's what made Tyler Perry so successful,
Mm.
among others, who understood their brand, their audience, and to get to the level where they can run a studio, they can find financing for their films, and have people that back them up to bring in the best talent possible. So if you're able to manage the business part of it and understand it, and it doesn't obviously it's more than a day to figure it all out, but if you can grasp that, that's what's going to give you longevity compared to somebody else who may have higher dreams but not grounded in the realities of the business.
Right. Absolutely. And that is key. How do you, what are some of your rituals, whether it can be acting or producing, before getting into character or producing a project? What are some of your rituals that you do before heading on set?
Rituals that I do, that's a good question. I tend to sometimes not try to get too caught up in the day, so I'll look at whatever the latest news is and entertainment, have my coffee, my bagel. Once in a while, I do pray before like a heavy duty shoot. Um, and I guess I just try to go through the scenes at least the night before to know what I need to make notes of, like instructions I want to give the actors and the crew. Sometimes I'll watch certain movies to get into a zone of a scene, because when I write my scripts, I'll think of certain moments of films that really grip me. And sometimes I'll relay that to the actors and the crew, or other times I'll just keep it to myself and then I'll give them that direction when I'm on set. So just those little bits of preparation that I do, whether I'm an actor or just directing.
Yes. Now, I asked my guests this question last week. Do you believe that art imitates life or vice vice versa, and why?
I believe that 100% that art imitates life. And I've seen it firsthand in a number of projects that I've done, just little moments on set or even just in the films that I've made that end up, kind of translating to things that I've seen in my personal life or things that I've heard about from people that are friends of mine. My most recent film, Dismissal Time, which is a short film, um, dealt with a situation I went through when I was in high school where I was the subject of racially motivated bullying. And basically, it was one of those situations where even after the school decided, oh, he didn't have this particular situation that he's accused of, that he's not responsible for it, they still kind of swept it under the rug, let the rumors linger. And that really disgusted me more than the bullying itself. And seeing so much of what's happened in the last couple of years with just the discrimination in our schools against anybody, whether it's your skin color or who you love or what your interests are, you got to speak out. You got to say something. And I feel like that film in particular was something that I had to translate all of those stories into something that related to mine and bring that to the forefront to engage in a conversation.
That's crazy because me and my co-host Manny, we just got through discussing that on my other platform, Tete a Tete. We talked about racism and the current state that us as people of color we're experiencing. So to hear you talk about you've experienced this during your school years, that's crazy, and it's still here. It's disgusting to see people racially profile people in this country. For us as people of color, we've contributed to so much in this country, and we are still fighting each and every day to prove that we are equal just as anybody else. So we have a long way to go. And I'm glad that you created this project because people need to see it, especially predominantly people of color who have experienced this growing up, and now getting into the business. Yeah, you're going to face it. So
Yeah,
my next,
true.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Sorry
No,
for
no,
cutting you off.
I totally agree. And that's why, if this film can create a conversation in our schools and in our public
Yeah.
sphere, that's really what I get out of it. And, for that person that may feel like they're isolated, they have nobody to turn to. But there are teachers and there are adults of authority that are willing to listen, who are willing to go above and beyond for somebody in need.
Yes, there are so many resources out here that can help as well. Now, speaking of challenges, for you and the actor aspect, what is the most challenging scene that you've ever had to work on in a film?
Oh, that's a good one. So it actually happened recently in the film that is in post production right now, which is the third and final Vendetta film. There's a scene in it where me and my partner Chris get into a very heated argument over a certain revelation that comes out, which I won't spoil here. And there's a lot of dialogue involved in it, and I had to kind of, we have a very good relationship off camera. We're very close friends. We've never had any serious arguments. And, sometimes it's hard, like when you're doing a scene with a friend and you have to, like, lash out at them and get very intense and have to curse. And I had to kind of bring myself out of that and put myself into the shoes of the character that I was playing. And so rather than trying to direct any kind of anger towards him necessarily, I kind of drew from personal experiences that I've had with old friends, as well as just things that have gone on in my life recently that just needed to come out. And I tell you, it was one of those situations where after a while we kind of went off script and we just let it flow. And it was in such a way that when it came out, even as I was editing the scene, it was like I saw a side of myself I had never seen before. I was kind of spooked, So, and I don't get like that when I do my own stuff. So I think that was probably the most challenging thing I've ever been through as an actor.
How, how do you stay so grounded? Because you said that you pray a lot, and I do too before an interview, before I get my day started. I always put God intact. How do you stay uplifted?
I, I stay uplifted by the notion of what is the definition of fame and success, and in particular the success part, because there are a lot of people who have those big dreams and aspirations of being on the A-list of Hollywood, going on the red carpet, going to the parties, being at the award shows and winning that big award. And I'm not going to lie and say that, I wouldn't want that in my life. I'd love to be one day, standing with my peers and being celebrated for an accomplishment that means a lot to me. But at the same time, you also have to remember, we all pretty much come into the world the same way and we go out the world the same way. And we only have such an infinite life to live that you got to make the most of what you can now and be humble and be giving to people. I think I've learned from the experiences of a lot of celebrities and especially certain actors that, like Denzel Washington, for example, who is, a legend as far as I'm concerned, as far as the world's concerned. But he is somebody that never lets the fame go over to his head. He keeps himself grounded enough to where he can still support the Boys and Girls Club. He could still do theater. He could still direct a movie to uplift an actor like Michael B. Jordan, who's on the cusp of becoming in his shoes one day. So you have to be able to realize that it's not always about me at the end of the day. It's about what's the legacy that you leave behind in your work and as a human being on this planet.
Absolutely. 100%. All right, Fashion Dolls, we're about to have some fun here with Andre. I told him that I was going to get into some Black actor trivia with him, and then we're going to do something called Turn the Tables. All right. So this is where my guests get to ask me as many questions as they want. It can be on anything fashion, beauty related, goal, family, dream, whatever they want to know about me. For my new viewers out there, you get to know a little bit about me through Andre's questioning. All right. And the Black actor trivia, I'm going to test his knowledge on some of these famous, iconic Black classic films. All right. So let's get right into it. Here's your first one.
All right.
What was Mookie's job in Do the Right Thing? Was it a pizza delivery boy, clothing store sales associate, taxi driver, or pool cleaning?
Oh, Pizza Boy.
That's right. Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing is a cult classic all in itself. All right, here's the next one. Quincy's father from Love and Basketball played on which NBA team? New York Knicks, Los Angeles Clippers, Los Angeles Lakers, or the Chicago Bulls?
Ooh, that's a good one. I haven't seen that in a long time. I'm gonna say the Clippers.
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes. All right. This your work reminds me so much of his. So in Get Out by Jordan Peele, of course, what was the name of the other world state Black people were trapped in when their bodies had taken over? Is it the tethered place, the broken place, the infinite place, or the sunken place?
Sunken Place.
That's it. All right, this is another cult classic. At the end of The Best Man, Harper proposes to who? Jordan, Shelby, Robin, or Mia?
I remember it was Sanaa Lathan's character.
That's correct. But what was her name in the film?
Was it Jordan?
Jordan was Nia
Oh,
Long.
okay. And what were the other three?
Robin, Shelby, and Mia.
Was it Robin?
That's it. That was Sanaa Lathan's character. Okay. Now, rest in peace to John Singleton.
Mm.
Where were Lucky and Justice taking a road trip to in Poetic Justice? San Diego, Boston, Chicago, or Oakland?
Was it San Diego? Oakland?
That's it. Which reminds me, I need to go and re-up on get me some Janet Jackson and Beyonce Renaissance tickets.
Yeah,
So definitely. Okay. Everybody knows this one. This one is easy. The phrase "Bye Felicia" came from which movie? Waiting to Exhale, Us, Crooklyn, or Friday?
Friday.
That's it. Yep. And that is Black actor trivia, Fashion Dolls. So we are about to turn these tables, and I'm going to hand it on down to Andre, and he's going to ask me some questions. My heart is beating fast. I have no idea what he's going to ask me. So take it away.
Okay. Um, what song helps you relax at night?
I love jazz. When I'm going to sleep, I listen to jazz. So I would have to say Cassandra Wilson's
Mm,
Until. Yes, I love Cassandra Wilson.
yeah, she's fantastic. Um, what is your favorite movie of the 80s?
My favorite movie of the 80s. Ooh, if I could go back in time to the 80s, I would have to say hmm, View to a Kill with Grace Jones.
Oh,
And
okay.
I love Grace Jones. She's one of my fashion influences. So that's how I fell in love with her because my father allowed me to watch that movie. She was Mayday, and just her presence when she came on the scene, I fell in love with her. I said, "Who is she? Who's this woman?" And then I did my research, and I said, "She's big in the world of fashion." So View to a Kill was one of my favorite James Bond.
Yeah. I think I've appreciated her a lot more as I've gotten older because her music is really just incredible. Um, what fashion icon would you say is an influence on your style?
Lately, it's been Beyonce. And you guys have been seeing the compare and the contrast because of her tour that is going on. So I wanted to do something more feminine, something more over the edge. I'm always pushing the envelope with style, and I always think ahead. With the runway trends, I try to stay ahead of what's on trend with the runway. I read a lot of fashion magazines like Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, and I'm like, okay, that's on trend. Let me go ahead and put my own spin onto it. Like today's look was inspired by Pamela Anderson in Barbed Wire, and I
Mm,
wanted to do something sexy, revolutionary. I was going to do latex, but I said it's too hot for latex.
yeah.
So I had to do something the complete opposite of what she wore in the film. And I said, let me go ahead and put my own spin onto it. So
Um, your favorite smell?
my favorite scent, my favorite perfume. You must have been viewing my stories because I have been doing this scent of the day. My favorite fragrance, my favorite perfume, I would have to say Alien Goddess from Mugler. And it how can I describe it? It is like a dream. It is I'll just say it's like a dream because I love anything that has vanilla based scent in it or woodsy. But I love vanilla and it has a very vanilla like scent. So I'm gonna go with Alien Mugler.
Okay. Um, what's the one place you would love to visit that you haven't been to yet?
Indonesia. I love
Mm,
beautiful scenery. And I've always wanted to go there because I have a fascination with just nature, gardens. Of course, I've been to New York because my family's from there and Atlanta and places like that. But I said I want to go even further. So I would have to say Indonesia.
okay. How many more should I ask you?
As many as you want, whatever comes to mind.
Okay. If there's any acting role you ever wanted to play in a movie or a TV show, what would it be?
It would probably be Eartha Kitt's character in Boomerang, the Lady Eloise type character, head of her own cosmetic company, something to that extent. I have done acting, but it was my very first acting role. I did a horror film back in 2021, and I played a college professor. That was a little bit out of my element because I'm so used to doing public speaking like how I'm doing now. But for this role, I'm getting choked up a little bit. The director wanted me to have short hair. So as you guys can see today, my hair is medium length. For this role, he said, no, no, no. But he did it for a reason. He said, I don't want you to look like any of the students. That's why. So when you're doing something, you and a director calls for you to change up your look or your aesthetic, I said, oh, I can do this. This is in the bag. I changed my look up, my hair color. I'm always changing up. I'm like a chameleon because one day you see me with black hair, the next day you see me with blonde hair, the next day you see me with green hair. I'm always doing something. And I guess it's the Scorpio in me where we're like we're very mysterious, and you don't know what you're gonna get. So I've always been the wild card out of all of my siblings. Like with me, you never know what's gonna happen. Expect the unexpected.
Okay. Hmm. What was your favorite TV show growing up?
My favorite TV show growing up, I would have to say Carmen Sandiego, and
Mm,
I wish they would bring that back. I was a big Carmen Sandiego fan. And if not that, then I would watch the Legends of the Hidden Temple game shows. Those game shows back in the day were my favorites. Like I'm a big Nickelodeon junkie. So Are You Afraid of the Dark? I would binge watch that. I finally got the whole entire box set of it. So that's one of my favorite shows to watch growing up. Another one of my favorite shows to watch growing up was Sister Sister. I love Moesha. So I grew up on shows like that. Yeah.
yeah, I used to watch Carmen Sandiego a lot at my grandpa's house after school, so I have very fond memories of that. Um, well, I just had a question for you to just now escape my mind. But favorite food?
I think a lot of people should know this. If they don't, now you know for the new viewers, I am obsessed with pepperoni pizza. And they're just like, how are you able to fit in your clothes? Because, pizza, you put on, but hey, moderation, all out of moderation. I love pepperoni pizza, especially with stuffed crust. That is my guilty pleasure, my week.
What was the best concert you've ever attended?
I would love to go to a concert. If I could go to any concert, I would have to say either Sade or Beyonce. That would
Okay.
be my very first time ever going to a concert. If I could go see a concert or Janet Jackson, I'm a big Janet fan. So those would be my top three choices if I could go see anybody.
Yeah, I'd love to see Sade too. I've had a lot of missed opportunities for her. Hmm. Do you prefer, what's your favorite kind of car?
My favorite kind of car, it was this beautiful green Phantom. My girlfriend and me were talking about cars just not too long ago. Me and my sis, we were talking about cars, and she gave her a dream car, and I was scrolling down Pinterest because I get a lot of my fashion ideas, and I have a whole board where I've pinned outfit ideas and suggestions. And then all of a sudden, I see the beautiful Lamborghinis, and it's this beautiful lime green neon colored Lamborghini. And I said, oh my God, that is my dream car. One day, one day. So we go manifest it.
Um, your favorite comedian of all time?
My favorite comedian, I would have to say, well, she's not really a comedian, but she talks with a purpose. And she's so on it. She's spot on. She's ahead. I would have to say Jennifer Lewis. I love Jennifer Lewis. And I feel like she doesn't get enough credit when it comes to comedy. People know her for the dramatic roles and playing the role of someone's mom, but she is hilarious. Like behind the scenes, watching her perform, she'll get up and she'll kick a leg up and she'll do all kinds of stuff. So definitely Jennifer Lewis. I would have to say
Yeah,
her.
totally agree on that. Um, who do you see as an influence as a talk show host?
Who influences me? Because there's so many women that that came way before me, and I'm still not. But I'm not mainstream
Yeah.
internationally. I am getting there. um, wow. There's Oprah, of course, but there's one that I can think in particular, and I would have to say it would be Ricky Lake. Ricky Lake has always had an approach when she gets on certain topics. She would allow the audience to give their opinions and they'd be spot on along with her. So I would have to say Ricky Lake has been one of my big influences, talk show wise.
Okay. Who's the most exciting person you've ever met?
On the show or outside of the show?
Um, I would say outside the show.
The most the most exciting person that I've ever met. I would have to say my cousin Sherry. Shout outs to her. I met her and it was at a family gathering, and we just clicked out instantly. I said I didn't even knew I had a cousin, and she came down and we just started hanging out ever since. That's my shopping buddy. So before the pandemic hit, we would always go shopping, me, her, and my other cousins. So shout outs to my cousin Sherry, and I just texted her not too long ago. So she went out of town with her hubby and things. So shout outs to her.
Nice. Um, any favorite cartoons growing up?
Ooh, favorite cartoons growing up. I would have to say Tom and Jerry. I still get a kick out of some of the funny things that they do, how clever Tom is. So that was my favorite growing up, Tom and Jerry.
Okay. Um, that's all the questions I could think of right now.
Great questions, Fashion Dolls. You get to know a little bit about me. Of course, I like my regular television shows, like I said, Moesha's sister. But you went deeper. You delved into the cartoon and the comedic aspect of it. You asked me my favorite comedians. So yeah. All right, Fashion Dolls. So, do we have any questions for myself or Andre? This has been such a amazing conversation. This has been longly in the works. We planned this way back when. So it was such a pleasure having you here. My last question for you is, if you could go back in time and tell your younger self something, the younger version of Andre, who's now this award-winning director, producer, if you could go back in time and tell your younger version of your younger self something, what would you tell your younger self?
I would tell myself just there's a few things, but I think the biggest thing is just keep your head up, stay strong, and whatever, dark times you think you might be facing right now, it's all going to subside. Just believe in yourself and you're going to go very far.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to add on to the gem that and Andre just gave you guys, I'm going to give you guys some gems as well too. Here's the final thought of the day, which comes from Amber Ruffin. She says the message is you don't have to be quiet about anything when people are asking folks to shut up and take it. That time is over. That means that this is your time to shine. The limelight is on you. You continue to be vocal and stand up and fight for what is right, even when it comes to making career decisions. Sometimes it can be scary for all of us, but starting over is a beautiful thing. I look at it as changing my hair color, which I do. In fashion, I change my look up a lot. So you're not going to get the same thing over here. But it's easy for me. It's like a new beginning. It's like being reborn again. So the rebirthing process is beautiful. Think of it as starting a new journey or starting anew. And there's nothing wrong with starting over. But times are changing, things are changing, and it is up to you to change how you want your story to be told. And we talked a lot about legacy last week on the show, what you want your legacy to be. And I know what I want my legacy to be. I want my legacy to be that I've made an impact on this world just by doing this platform, bringing people happiness, bringing them joy, bringing the message, educating, informing, and doing it in a way that is so unique and so revolutionary that people have just caught on to it. So I'm glad you guys love the platform, and we're going to continue on. We've been renewed for season 18. Oh, we've already got our first booking for 2024. So thank you guys for supporting Style by Stevie, along with this being my 500th interview with Andre, and then my fifth episode of Tete a Tete with my co-host Manny. So thank you guys all for supporting Style by Stevie and Tete a Tete. It's because of you guys that we are where we are. And that comes from hard work, determination, perseverance, and dedication, staying dedicated to what you do. So that's what Amber just said in this quote. Stand up, speak up. If you know something isn't right, which is one of the affirmations that I say in the morning when I get up. I know when to speak up when something isn't comfortable for me. That is one of my affirmations. And you have to be willing to do it too. If something is uncomfortable for you, you make sure you speak up. But continue. Don't just sit there and take it. Speak up and stand firm in your truth. And that is the final thought of the day, Fashion Dolls. So, Andre, let everyone know about this project and where they can go and check it out, as well as some of your previous projects.
Well, you can find everything about me and my upcoming projects at AJEPYX on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter, now X. I have a link tree, so if you type in linktree/AJEpics, that'll have the list of all my films where it's available on the streaming platforms and the official websites for each one.
All right, Fashion Dolls, and let everyone know where they can follow you.
You can follow me here on Instagram at AJEPYX.
It was such a pleasure having you here, Andre. I had such a great time, and I
Oh,
told you we were going to have a blast. So
thank you so much, Stevie. This was a blast.
you are so welcome, and I would love to have you back again in the future. So I will talk, set it up. All
Okay.
right, Fashion Dolls, ladies and gentlemen, Andre Joseph. Make sure you guys go and check out his project Dismissal. Go and check it out. Powerful, and it has meaning. So check out this interview because these shows will be uploaded to Style by Stevie Daytime on YouTube. Joining me tomorrow, we have Emery Thomas, and he's going to be joining me. So make sure you guys tune in for that interview. He has a hair growth oil that is out that hopefully he'll talk about tomorrow. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow with Emery. It is What a Man Week. All of these successful, amazingly talented Black men are here with me another week. We continued it last week, but we're continuing on this week as well too. So, Andre, such an honor for kicking off What a Man Week with you this week.
Thanks. This is
Always. All right, Fashion Dolls, you guys, I will see you tomorrow at 4. I want you guys to check out everything. Everything is going to be up, and we did it, y'all. 500 episodes. Thank you all so much. Take care.